You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical Rant.
Welcome back, 47 after the hour, and we had the day off yesterday, and I was going through the blogs and the various news alerts that I get on marijuana when I happened upon a blog in LA Weekly, the weekly news article there, you know, one of those papers that you get for free, probably loaded with medical marijuana dispensary advertisements in the back of it. In fact, I'm probably could make a strong bet that LA Weekly wouldn't be in business today without marijuana advertising dollars. Anyway, let's get to it. The headline in Friday's LA Weekly was, and this was by Dennis Romero. He was the writer here. The headline was, LULAC, huge Latino group, endorses Prop 19, California's marijuana legalization initiative. Okay, so that caught my, great. A big Latino group, LULAC, L-U-L-A-C. I don't know what it stands for. But LULAC is going to endorse Prop 19. That's great because, we need more support amongst minorities, especially Hispanics, the largest growing voting demographic in the country. But once I started reading it, right from the first paragraph, it kind of made me wince. Let's see if it makes you wince. Here we go. This is Dennis Romero in the LA Weekly. Surprise, surprise. Latinos are getting behind the California ballot initiative to legalize pot. You mean the same folks who gave the world Cheech, not Chong, Acapulco Gold, and the very word marijuana? Orale! Quote, far too many of our brothers and sisters are getting caught in the crossfire of gang wars here in California and the cartel wars south of the border, State LULAC Director Argentina Davila Lovueno says. It's time to end prohibition, put violent organized criminals out of business, and bring marijuana under the control of law, end quote. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, like we should be surprised that Latinos are getting back, the sarcasm dripping off his words there because, Cheech and Acapulco Gold and, the word marijuana. Like we should be shocked. Like, oh, really? The Latino support? Yeah. Well, not only is this just racist, at its core, but it's factually inaccurate. Let's take a look at the actual facts. Our federal government surveys drug use and health. It's called the National Survey of Drug Use and Health. They do it every year. It's run out of the University of Michigan. You can look it up online. Just type in to your Google there, National Surveys on Drug Use and Health, or I've got a link to it up at our blog, stash.normal.org. And despite what LA Weekly would have you believe about Latinos, and despite, Cheech Marin's excellent portrayal of a Hispanic stoner, Latinos are the least likely, or they're among the least likely of racial and ethnic groups to have smoked marijuana. That's right. Your stereotype of Cheech, the Hispanic stoner, is actually a rarity. Only 28% of Hispanics in 2008 had ever used marijuana in their lifetime. Yeah, only 28%, a little more than 1 out of 4 Hispanics had ever used marijuana in their lifetime. Now compare that to 40% for African Americans and 45% for whites, right? So Smokey from Friday movies and Spicoli from Fast Times, those are more accurate as far as stoner stereotypes go than Cheech goes, right? It's more likely that a stoner is going to be black or white than they're ever going to be Latino. Oh, and just for the record, only Asian Americans rake lower than Hispanics. Asian Americans, only 15.5% of Asian Americans have ever used marijuana in their lifetime. So, so much for the Harold and Kumar stereotypes. Now, let's look a little deeper into the numbers because, when we talk about these numbers of, have you ever used in your lifetime, that's a little bit different than the stoner stereotype of, somebody's a wake and baker, every day smoking pot kind of person, me. Even if we look to that stereotype, those on the National Surveys of Drug Use and Health that have used more than 100 days in the past 12 months, that means at least twice a week in the past year, only 2.9% of Hispanics use marijuana with that frequency, compared to 3.8% of whites and 6.4% of African Americans. Now, here's a little ironic bit here. It's Chong, actually, not Cheech, who most matches this racial demographic data. a majority, and the only racial or ethnic group where a majority of people have smoked pot in their life, 52.3%, are multiracial people like the Irish Chinese Tommy Chong. And 8% of multiracial people have used more than 100 times in the past year. But, you know, Tommy Chong's Canadian, so I don't know if that really counts for anything. This is American data, right? And when I give you these numbers too, let's always keep in mind, whenever I bring you these numbers from the National Surveys on Drug Use and Health, these are people who are willing to admit to an anonymous pollster who calls them on the telephone out of the blue at random, representing the federal government, asking you whether or not you break state and federal laws. So, you know, adjust up a little bit, because there's going to be a whole lot of people that aren't comfortable about saying, oh, yeah, I break the law on the telephone to a stranger. Also, the other part here, that in the blog here by Dennis Romero, where he says, surprise, surprise, you know, the people that gave us the word marijuana, you know, the Mexicans that gave us the word marijuana. It's not quite accurate to say the Mexicans gave us the word marijuana. It's more like we took it from them and used it to scare people. Because if you go back to early 20th century America, nobody had ever heard of the word marijuana, but everybody knew what cannabis was. There were cannabis drops, cannabis tinctures, cannabis potions, bulk cannabis that you could buy. Everybody knew what cannabis was. And everybody knew what hemp was too. They, you know, hemp sails, hemp cloth, hemp rope, hemp oil, hemp candles, hemp soap. I mean, everybody in America in the early 1900s knew what cannabis was, and they knew what hemp was. So when the government decided they wanted to start banning marijuana because the Mexicans were smoking it and the black musicians in the South were smoking it, when they, again, talk about the racism, right? Going back all the way to the beginning of all of this, we can look at just mired in racism. And they couldn't lock people up for being black or brown, so they locked them up for what they smoked. But they couldn't tell people they were locking them up for cannabis or they were locking them up for hemp, because the rest of America would go, what's the problem? Cannabis, hemp, those are great things. So they used the Mexican slang word marijuana. And William Randolph Hearst starts spreading it out all over his papers, you know, all this scaremongering propagandizing from Harry J. Anslinger and the types about the dreaded marijuana, right? Again, propaganda, because people knew what cannabis and hemp were. So it's a little unfair to say the Mexicans gave us the word marijuana. Again, it's more like we stole it. And then there's another part here in the blog by Dennis Romero in LA Weekly where he says, quote, wait, how's legalizing it going to end the cartel wars? Wouldn't demand go up with supply following? Call us stupid, and we know you will, but when medical marijuana dispensaries started to blossom like a bud in the Humboldt sun, violence related to pot increased, and it seems to us the cartels are plenty busy sending serious weight across the border, end quote. This is again Dennis Romero saying that. Dennis, look, first of all, you don't understand the basic laws of supply and demand, right? Because what California is setting up here is a legal and regulated system to supply the demand, right? Mexicans aren't going to be able to compete in this system because once it's legal, there is no longer a prohibition risk premium added to the cost of the marijuana. The price of marijuana in California will drop to the point where the Mexicans cannot compete. That's the whole point of legalizing marijuana. And furthermore, there's not a whole lot of evidence here that Mexicans are supplying the dispensaries in California. Go to the website priceofweed.com and you will find that in the West Coast, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, you will find the cheapest high-grade marijuana. You're welcome. And in California as well, they're following up second, right? So the cheapest high-quality marijuana, the kind grown indoors, the kind grown hydroponically, the kind that's tended to outdoors, you know, to the utmost, that's all grown here in America. That's American weed that's being smoked there. Check out priceofweed.com and try to find where the cheapest low-quality weed is, aka Mexican brickweed. And you find it in the southern states. You find it in the southeast. You find it in the border, Arizona, Texas, upper areas there, Oklahoma, all the way up into the Midwest. That's where you find the swaggy Mexican brickweed, right? So they are not supplying the dispensaries to any serious extent. And furthermore, violence related to the dispensaries or violence south of the border is all related to prohibition. That's the exact problem we're trying to solve here. But, you want to talk about violence. Oh, yeah, the violence has increased. We've seen cops bursting into well-regulated dispensaries and smashing up the window displays and destroying the camera systems and taking the TVs, but never charging anyone with a crime. We've seen that. We've seen a lot of violence from the police side of it. We've seen law-abiding citizens' homes burst into with no-knock warrants and had their pets shot in front of them. We've seen a lot of that. Oh, yeah, there's been some violence, that's for sure. Not been from our side, though. So this stereotyping of Latinos in particular is not just racist, it's factually inaccurate. Latinos are among the least likely people to have smoked pot. But it just goes all the way back to the playbook of Harry J. Anslinger, trying to scare people with the foreigners and their deadly reefers. And, it goes back to the quotes back from the day where they talked about degenerate Spanish-speaking residents and the Mexican assassins and how they smoke the hashish and they go crazy and they impregnate the white women and all this terrible stuff. Enough is enough, people. This has got to end. And that's why in 3 weeks with Proposition 19, we will all have a hand in changing this. We will all have a hand in ending the disproportionate persecution of blacks, Latinos, poor white folks, people that use cannabis. We will end this nasty prohibition, this prohibition that has cost us our hemp heritage, that has prevented us from studying the cancer curing properties of marijuana that our government has known about since 1974. All of this has to start with a first step. Prop 19 is not perfect. It's not the end. It is merely the first step in legalizing marijuana across the country and across the world. 3 weeks, people. You got until October 18th to register to vote in the state of California. That's less than 7 days away. That's 6 days away. If you haven't registered, please get registered to vote in the state of California. Let's pass Prop 19. Let's make the crack in the wall of ignorance. Let's bring down this wall of prohibition. I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. And for Cannabis Carry, we appreciate you stopping into the show. We're here every weekday, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Also available on iTunes as the normal daily audio stash. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is Normal Show Live, the voice of the Marijuana Nation.
Take it out one more time. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's hour 2 here, Toker Talk Radio at Normal Show Live, 2:01 Pacific time. We're thinking about our good friend Ganja John, the pirate, El Ojo. He had to head back into the hospital. He's having severe pain, but medically we think everything's okay. Maybe he'll call us a little later on in this Toker Talk Radio segment. We hope so. We miss you, Ganja John. I just hope that they're not undertreating his pain. And this happens a lot, where pain gets undertreated in this country because, they think you're drug seeking. Oh, you're just after the drugs. And, maybe they know he works for Normal and they think he's just a druggie and they don't want to give him anything. I don't know. We will get all the details. Candace Carey's still on the line with us as well. Hi, Carey. Welcome back to the hour.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that they're being stingy with pain medication. I hope that's not the case. I mean,
He seemed pretty doped up when I visited him that one time, so I think they're giving him some good stuff, but we shall see. It's a kidney transplant. My God, I mean, things are gonna hurt for a while.
He's faking it.
Yeah, really. He's faking it. Faker, drug seeker. Oh my God. Oh, that was a good interview there with Steven, by the way. I got to be on a panel with Steven at Netroots Nation, and great guy. He used to work with Outfest, Gay and Lesbian Outfest, which was major festivals, and also one of the major festivals to promote gay and lesbian people of color. So Steven's got it going on. He's been working in Reform and all these different organizations for years and years, and we couldn't ask for a better guy in California to be getting the word out here on Prop 19. Well, folks, I'm doing two jobs here, doing Ganja John's job, and that means I have to finish up the podcast, get it uploaded. Got to finish the replays as well. 3 o'clock, you'll be hearing the replay. On tomorrow's show, we'll be speaking with Dr. Mitch Earlywine. He'll be back, taking your live questions. Thursday, we've got some special guests joining us. The Hydro Comics will be joining us. And on Friday, we'll have our preview of the Cypress Hill Smokeout. We're going to get Steve Bloom on the line, see if we can get him to talk about the Cypress Hill Smokeout. I'm thrilled, though. The Cypress Hill Smokeout this year. Of course, Cypress Hill's playing. I love Cypress Hill. And also Incubus. A lot of people, talking about Incubus that they're playing, and that's good, too. I like Incubus. They're good. But what I'm thrilled about is that great late 80s rockers, Living Color, will be there. Cult of Personality, Letter to a Landlord. One of my favorite groups ever. I'm so looking forward to it. But I got to get some stuff uploaded and compressed and posted up on the web. So in the meantime, we'll play some music for you. Some of my favorites. You do some Nicki Meany. This is Marijuana featuring Afro Man.
I smoke marijuana.